Hello and welcome to my cube collection video as of June 2019. So I'm just gonna get started right away. And this is where I store all my cubes. So right now all the drawers are pulled out. So right here the top two are just 3x3s, the ones I use more. On this side, the ones I use less over there. In this drawer, all my 2x2s and 4x4s. And on this side, 5x5, 6x6, and 7x7. Below this one is all of my cubing accessories, including lube and accessories I get with all the cubes. And underneath this one is just more 3x3s that didn't fit. And below this one are my non-N-by-N WCA puzzles, so Mega Minx, Square One, Pure Minx, and Scube. Below that, I have an empty drawer that I don't have enough cubes to fill yet. And underneath this one is a non-WCA drawer. You can tell just how much I love non-WCA by that. Underneath that is just random 3x3 puzzles that I have somehow gotten in the past years. So I am just going to be going through every single cube in my collection, starting with the 3x3s. I'm pretty excited for this first collection video. So as you saw before, I like to keep my cubes pretty organized. I have them organized by company they're made by, so that's how I'm going to be going. We're going to be starting out with GAN. So let's start with the first one. So this is the first GAN puzzle I ever got. This is a 356 Air, pretty nice, introduced me to the GAN company. These are my two SMs, both with the two Michael Humu logos. This is the older SM, which I used at my first ever competition, and this is an SM 2019, which I actually like a lot more. So these are my two X's. This is my stock one. So this is a GAN 356X, which is pretty gummy because I have been preferring this one. This is the Angstrom X, probably the most expensive puzzle in my collection. It's very nice. It got me my PB single in competition. Look at that video somewhere on my channel. Yeah, this is really nice, and I have the Mystic one coming in the mail, so I'm pretty excited to try that. And this is also probably my backup main. This is the 354, my one-handed main. I think a lot of people use this cube for one-handed, so it's pretty nice, a little bit smaller. Feels a lot like the X. And this is the R. This is GAN's budget cube. It's $20, non-magnetic, really unstable, really catchy. I don't really like it. Next up, Yushin. We'll start with this. This is the Yushin Black Kirin. I think this is their latest budget cube. It kind of feels like the Little Magic, just a little bit more stable and a little slower, which is actually kind of nice. This is my Little Magic stock. Pretty nice. Probably one of the best budget cubes, although the sticker quality kind of sucks, and I know the stickerless one is matte, which I don't really like. This is the Cubicle Labs magnetic version of the Little Magic. It has very strong magnets, but it is very stable, and I actually really like this. This is the Yushin Kailen 3x3 V2M, the newer version of the world record 5.25 cube. This is magnetic. I haven't set it up yet, so it's still kind of bad, but overall for $10, it's a pretty nice budget cube. And this is a Huanglong M. This is the Angstrom version. I used to have the stock version, but I sold it, so this is the only Huanglong I have now, which is actually very nice. I really like this puzzle. If I had a backup main, it would probably be this, although it's very hard with 3x3. There's a lot of them that I like. Next up, Chi. I have two Chi budget cubes. This one is the Sail. This is a pretty old budget cube, and it's still actually pretty good. This is the Chi Warrior W. The shades are kind of weird, and it has a matte finish, but it's still kind of decent. Next, for all my Volks, this is the first world-class 3x3 I ever got. $20 when I bought this. I thought $20 for a Rubik's Cube was crazy. Now that's considered a budget cube, sort of. So this is just a normal Volk 3. Pretty nice. This is a Cubicle Labs magnetic Volk 3. It's kind of gummy right now because I put X in it, which kind of made it bad. But when this was good, it got me my first ever sub 10 single. Now for Volk Powers, this is just a stock one that's stickered, which is pretty good. And this is the Pro Shop version, which is better, plus it's stickerless. Next up, Moyu. This is an Aolong V2 mini or small or whatever they call it, pretty old cube. This is a Weilong GTS1 with pink plastic. I have two Weilong GTS2s. At one time I had 5 GTS2s, but I sold off a lot of them. So now all I have is this Angstrom one. and this angstrom polymer coated one. This got me my first sub 14 average in competition, so yeah, it's very nice. I have 3 GTS 3s, 2 are the regular and 1 is the WR. This is a Cubicle Labs light magnet version. I don't really like this cube. And this is an angstrom. Once you break this in, it becomes really good, and this is actually my main right now. Lastly, this is an angstrom WRM. This is kind of slow, but I think I still just need to break it in more. I have a Mystic GTS 3 and a Mystic WRM coming in the mail, so I'm pretty excited for those. Now onto Mofang Jiaoshi, the budget line of Moyu. This is the Mofang Jiaoshi MF3. This is the Mofang Jiaoshi MF3S. This is the Mofang Jiaoshi MF3RS, the first one that is actually decent. This is the Mofang Jiaoshi MF3RS2. And this is the Mofang Jiaoshi MF3RS3. And I also have a magnetic version of the MF3RS2. Very good cube. And I have the Pro Shop version of the MF3RS3. This is actually really nice, and I really like this cube. Lastly, from Mofang Jiaoshi, this is the Mei Long. This is a newer budget cube that they just came out with, which is, in my opinion, the best budget cube under $5. If you are into budget cubes, I have an unboxing coming up with the Mei Long 4x4, 5x5, and Pyraminx, so look out for that. Next up, YJ, I'll start with the Guanglongs. This is the first Guanglong. I'm pretty sure this is the first budget cube, maybe the Yulong, but this used to be the best budget cube because it was almost the only one, but now it kind of sucks. Also, I think one of the center cap pieces in this, I think this one is broken. This is the Guanglong V2, or I should say the Guanglong Pro. I don't know why they didn't just do V2. It's pretty good. I think it's the best Guanglong, except some of these caps kind of pop off. Let me see if I can find one. There we go. So that's the main problem I found with this. And this is the Guanglong V3. It basically looks exactly the same to the first one, but it just turns a little bit better. This is the YJ Relong. I don't really know what the point of this was. It's just kind of like a stickerless Guanglong. It kind of feels like a Guanglong. It's basically just bad. Next up, the MGCs. This is the MGC V1. Kind of slow, and then this one is the YGC V2. It's faster, but it catches a little bit. Also, this one is really gummy. This is my latest YJ 3x3. This is the YJ Yulong V2M, which is actually really good, except mine isn't set up and it is way too fast right now. Next up, I just have a bunch of Moyu sub-brand 3x3s. So this is from Senhuan, the Senhuan Mars S. I really hate this cube. This is the Yanshan Yan 3. I really like this cube. It kind of feels like a Uaxiao. Speaking of that, this is the Guoguan Uaxiao with blue plastic. This kind of feels like a Yanshan Yan 3. And this is the Guoguan Uaxiao Pro, which is way too slow. Next up, Dian. I only have 2 Dian puzzles. This one is the Tangyun M. This has a really satisfying and quiet feel. This, I don't know what it is. I kind of got it when I wasn't really a cuber. I kind of just learned how to solve the puzzle. I remember there being a sticker here, but I peeled it off, but I'm pretty sure this is some kind of Dian puzzle. If you have any idea, I think it might be a Guhong, but I really have no idea because I don't know what they look like on the inside. It may also just be some kind of knockoff Diane, but I remember getting it sort of in the Diane era. Moving on with just some brands that only have one cube in. This is the Kung Fu 3x3. I can't remember what it's called. I just looked it up. This is the Kung Fu Long Yuan. This cube I solved underwater in the Bahamas. Lastly, this is the Kung Fu Fei Wu. This is one of the first speed cubes I ever got, along with the Guanglong. Kind of bad. Next up, Shengshao. This is the Shengshao Tank, a budget cube that is kind of bad. And the Shengshao Gem 3x3. Kind of like the tank, but just a little bit worse. This is the Shengshao Legend, which looks like it would be really boxy feeling, but it's actually kind of good. And this is the first 3x3 I got after my Rubik's brand. I'm pretty sure this is a Shengshao Aurora, but I'm not exactly sure. Next up, Rubik's brand. This is the first Rubik's Cube I ever turned. This is a Rubik's brand V1. This is a Rubik's brand V2, which I actually was able to set up and tension, and now it's actually kind of good. And this is the Rubik's GAN collaboration speed cube thing. It's tiled and I don't really like it. Next up, I'm just going to get through some of these stupider cubes. This is a shiny dollar store cube. This is a mini 3x3 I got in a stocking. This is a cube I got from my 7th grade English teacher. This is a cube I got at a baseball game. One of the sides of this actually was broken when I got it, so I had to glue it on. I think it's this one. So this side just doesn't turn it because I had to super glue it, so this side just doesn't turn. This is a Rubik's brand keychain cube. This is the Sudoku cube, which is at the moment the only cube in my collection I don't have solved. I have never even tried to solve this. I don't really want to because it looks really annoying. This is a Rubik's cube given to me by my piano teacher. This is the second one I ever got. I got it before I was even into cubing and before I even knew how to solve a cube. And as you can see, some of the centers are misoriented, but this is probably the worst turning 3x3 in my collection. This is a dollar store barrel cube, which I got in a 8th grade history class. So that is all of the 3x3s. I'm just going to keep going with the stupid stuff by getting the non-WCA puzzles out of the way. This is a 3x3x2, which I think I don't know how to solve. I might have to look up the algs again. But yeah, you basically just need like, I think 2 or 3 algs to solve this. This is a mirror cube. This is a Pandora cube, which kind of hurts to solve because all these corners are really sharp. This is a 3x3x1 that has a problem with the center caps always falling off. This is possibly one of the easiest cubes in my collection, and a 1x1. Now that we are done with the 3x3s and non-WCA, I will go on to 2x2. This is the GAN 249 V1. Not very good. This is the GAN 249 V2. I got the stickered one. This is actually pretty good. It's just a little bit too small for me. This is the GAN Rubik's collaboration 2x2, which is actually really, really good. This is the Kung Fu Yuehun 2x2. Pretty good. This is the Guoguan Zinghen. This is a non-magnetic one. I kind of want to get the magnetic one just to have it, but the non-magnetic version is pretty darn bad. This is a Shengshao 2x2 I got along with that Shengshao 3x3. I don't know what it is. If there's such thing as an Aurora 2x2, this might be it, but this is some kind of really old Shengshao 2x2. This is a Diane 2x2. I believe it's new plastic. This is the smaller Diane 2x2 they have. Next up, Mofang Jiaoshi. This is the Mofang Jiaoshi MF2. And this is the Cubicle Labs Mofang Jiaoshi MF2. Next up, Yushin. This is the Yushin Little Magic 2x2. I took this apart to set it up, and I don't think I put it back together right, so it's all misaligned and weird, except it still turns fine. There's no layers that can't turn, so I'm just really confused what I did wrong putting this back together, and I don't want to take the time to try to fix it. Although the shades are actually really nice on this. This is the Yushin White 2x2. Pretty nice actually for how old it is. Next up for YJ, this is the MGC 2x2, which is pretty nice, except the magnets, one of the magnets in mine fell out, which is really annoying, and I haven't taken the time to find it and fix it. This is the YJ UPO 2x2 V2 M. Pretty nice, except it's just a little bit too fast. Next up for Moyu, this is a WAPO. And this is an Angstrom WAPO M. This is a Volk 2M. This is my backup main. And this is an Angstrom Volk 2M, which is my main. Next up for 4x4, this is a really old 4x4. This was my first one, and it is really bad. This is a Mofang Jiaoshi MF4, really the only budget 4x4 I have, and this I was able to solve underwater in the Bahamas. Next up for Chi 4x4s, this is the Wuchui, which is really slow. This is just a stock one. This is the Angstrom Wuchui. I used to have a Cubicle Labs, but I sold that one off, so this is the best Wuchui I have now. For being $60, this cube sucks. It's super, super slow, just like all Wuchuis. And this is the Mini Wuchui, the best one I have, but it is still way too slow. I have done hundreds of solves on both of these, and there's nothing I can do to speed them up. In case you didn't notice, I really don't like Wuchuis. Just every time I get one, they're always too slow, and I can never get them good. Next up, Yushin 4x4s. This is the Yushin Blue 4x4. This is just a stack one. And this is the Cube Depot Rocket Yushin Blue 4x4. This is the only cube I have that isn't from the Cubicle, just because the Cubicle doesn't have a setup version of the blue. So, yep, this is the magnetic version, and it is actually really, really good. This is the 460. This is really good. The only problem I have with it is sometimes when you are doing turns between the inners and the outers, it can get some lockups, and I have had it pop in comp, which is the reason I switched away from this as my main, but I used to use this in competition. Next up, Moyu. Moyu 4x4s are the best in my opinion. This is the GTS V1 magnetic. This is the cube that I used at my first competition. It got me sub 1, and it got me my first ever sub 50 single, which was in competition during an official solve. This is the GTS V2M, the also GTS 2M. This is the stock version, and this is my backup main. And this is my main, the Aosu GTS 2M Angstrom. This is an absolutely amazing 4x4. Next up, 5x5. These are the first two 5x5s I ever got. They're the same cube, some kind of really old Shangshao. They are really bad. Next up, this is the Yushin 5x5, which I set up using Chris Olsen's weight 5 method, where you basically just use weight 5, and it's kind of good. This is the Yushin Little Magic 5x5. This is the Pro Shop version. This is a pretty budget-friendly magnetic 5x5, which is really good if you don't have a lot of money to get a 5x5. This is the YJ Yushuang 5x5 V2M. This is a pretty nice budget magnetic 5x5 also. The only puzzles in the new YJ budget magnetic cube set I don't have are the 4x4 and Pyraminx, because they weren't out when I placed my last order. So if you want to see those, I do have those coming in one of my next unboxings. Next up, to the pretty good sort of world-class 5x5s. I'll start with the Wuchuangs. This is the first one I ever got. This is the Cubicle Labs version. This is a pretty nice 5x5. This used to be my backup main before I switched to the Aochuang. This is another magnetic Wuchuang. I believe this was originally a Cuber's Home Wuchuang, It was given to me by my good friend Nathan Popov. He set this up himself, and it's pretty good. This is the last Wushuang. This is an Angstrom one. This used to be my main before I started using Ausshuangs. It has started to become gummy because I haven't used it in a little bit, but this is a very good 5x5. This is my backup main, the stock Ausshuang. This is the Angstrom Ausshuang DTS-M. This is, in my opinion, the best 5x5. I think it's better than the Wushuang. The only thing I really don't like about it is a little bit bigger, but the turn is very nice, and this is my new main 5x5 after a long period of time of using the Wushuang. Next up, 6x6. This is a ViewCube 6x6. This is the Little Magic 6x6. This is my backup main just because I really don't have anything else, although I really would just quit 6x6 if I had to use this. And this is the Pro Shop X-Man Shadow 6x6. This is my current main. It's still a little gummy, but I am trying to break this in. And this is a Budget 7x7 by YJ. This is the YJ Rifu 7x7, which is pretty darn bad. This is the Haze 7, which is my backup main. And this is the X-Band Spark 7x7, which is currently my main, and it is really, really good. In my opinion, and I think most people would agree, this is the best 7x7. Next up, the non-NBN WCA, we will start with Square One. This is the Little Magic Square One M. It's pretty good, but after getting used to the Volt, I just can't switch over to this. Speaking of the Volt, this is the Volt MS. This is my backup main. And this is the Volt Fully Magnetic. This is my main, and it is pretty good. Next, for Megaminx, this is my Shengshou Megaminx, the first one I ever got. And this is the X-Man Galaxy V2 Megaminx. This is non-magnetic. This is the Cubicle Pro Shop magnetic version of that, the Galaxy M Pro Shop. This is pretty good, except it's still a little bit gummy, although I have been breaking it in a lot. This is currently my backup main. I don't think it will be able to beat the LM. And this is that LM. This is just the stock version, although I have the Pro Shop version coming in the mail, so look out for that if you're looking for an unboxing of it. This is my main currently. It is just a bit faster, and I do like the bigger size. Next up for Pyraminx, this is the first Pyraminx I ever got, and it is pretty bad. I'm not sure exactly what this is. This is a Moyu Magnetic Pyraminx, which is pretty nice, except it is stickered, which I don't really like. This is the Yushin Huanglong Pyraminx, which is pretty good, and it is my backup main. And finally, this is the Cubicle Pro Shop Bell Pyraminx. This is my main, and it is very good. So next up, Skewb. This is a old Shengshou Skewb in white plastic. I took the ball bearings out of this, and some of the pieces broke, and when I super glued them back together, I didn't do it perfectly, so it doesn't really line up anymore, but it still works. This is an old Moyu Magnetic Skewb. This is an Aoyan Skewb, which I haven't had the chance to set up yet, so it's not really good yet, but I think I would still like the Wingy more, although this is a pretty nice Skewb. Next up for the Wingies, this is the first Wingy I ever got. This is just a stock stickered one. And this is my main, the Pro Shop Wingy stickerless. And by the way, my backup was this stock stickerless. My lube collection consists of DNM, which are all of these. I have Mystic, both Angstrom, I have Compound X and V, I have Lubrical Silk, I have Weight 2, some Speedy, and some Lubrical 1. Also in syringes, I have Weight 4 and Lubrical Black. And lastly, I just have a syringe of 30K. So that is the entire collection video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I just got off school, so you can expect a lot more videos more frequently from now on. If you are looking forward to more, you can subscribe, like this video, comment, share, etc. And I'll see you next time.